You're born into a world where trees breathe light and mountains float in the sky. Sounds magical, right? Wrong. You're a 10-foot tall blue alien whose entire existence revolves around dodging death while corporate invaders strip mine your sacred homeland. Welcome to Pandora, where survival isn't just a skill, it's an art form that your ancestors perfected over thousands of years. But here's the thing nobody tells you about being Navi. Your connection to nature isn't some peaceful spiritual experience. It's a neural network that floods your mind with every scream of a dying forest, every pulse of wounded earth. You feel it all. Your childhood starts before you can even walk properly. While human babies are learning to crawl, you're learning which plants will kill you and which ones will keep you alive. Your parents don't coddle you with safety warnings. They show you the razor-sharp thorns that inject paralytic venom, the flowers that explode into acidic spores, the vines that strangle anything they touch. Pandora wants you dead from day one. Your survival depends on memorizing 1,000 different ways the forest can murder you before breakfast. By age 5, you're climbing trees that stretch 300 feet into the sky. No safety nets, no harnesses, just your instincts and the knowledge that one wrong move sends you plummeting to your death. Your fingers develop calluses thick as leather from gripping bark that cuts like broken glass. You learn to read the forest's moods through subtle changes in bioluminescence, wind patterns, and the calls of creatures that could swallow you whole. Your neural cue, that long braided appendage at the base of your skull, isn't just decoration. It's your lifeline to everything around you. When you're 7, your father takes you to make your first bond with a dire horse. The moment those neural tendrils connect, your mind explodes with alien thoughts. Fear, hunger, territorial rage, mating instincts, all flooding through your consciousness at once. You nearly pass out from the overwhelming sensation of becoming something that isn't entirely you anymore. But you hold on because weakness means death in Navi culture. Training for your Ikran, your Banshee, starts at 12. Most humans would call it attempted suicide. You climb to the floating Hallelujah Mountains where these dragon-like creatures nest. The air is so thin your lungs burn with every breath. One wrong step on the floating rocks sends you falling thousands of feet to the forest floor below. The Ikran themselves are apex predators with razor-sharp beaks and territorial instincts that make them attack anything that moves. Your job is to sneak up on one, make the bond, and somehow survive the psychic connection with a creature whose first instinct is to throw you off its back and watch you splatter. Your first attempt ends with 3 broken ribs and a concussion that leaves you unconscious for 2 days. Your second attempt results in deep gashes across your back from claws designed to tear through armored hide. By your 5th attempt, you finally make the connection. The Ikran's mind hits yours like a lightning bolt. Pure predatory instinct, the thrill of the hunt, the joy of flight, all mixed with a primal rage that wants to kill everything in sight. You hold on through sheer willpower as the creature launches itself off the mountain, diving toward the ground at terminal velocity before pulling up at the last possible second. But surviving the bonding is just the beginning. Flying an Ikran requires split-second timing and absolute trust between rider and mount. These creatures can dive at speeds that would liquefy a human, pull G-forces that would black out fighter pilots, and navigate through floating mountain passages barely wider than their wingspan. One moment of hesitation, 1 second of doubt in the neural link, and you're both dead. The forest teaches you that everything is connected, but that connection comes with a price. When you bond with your Ikran, you don't just share its thoughts, you share its pain. Every injury it suffers, you feel. Every fear it experiences becomes your fear. When it's hungry, your stomach gnaws with emptiness even if you just ate. When it's threatened, adrenaline floods your system regardless of your own safety. Your teenage years are spent learning the warrior's path. Combat training with weapons that would seem primitive to humans, but require years to master. Bows that fire arrows capable of piercing metal, spears balanced for throwing at targets hundreds of yards away, blades forged from materials harder than steel. But the real weapons are your enhanced senses, your connection to the forest itself, and your ability to move through the trees like a shadow. Every hunt is a life or death gamble. The creatures you track for food are apex predators themselves. Six-legged panthers with armor plating and venomous fangs. Massive herbivores whose stampedes can level entire sections of forest. Flying predators that hunt in coordinated packs and can spot movement from miles away. You don't just hunt these creatures. You become part of their world, understanding their patterns, their weaknesses, their territories. Your 20s bring the worst nightmare any Navi can face. The sky people return. Those pale, soft creatures in their metal shells and poison-breathing masks descend from the stars like a plague. They don't come to trade or learn. They come to strip your world bare for a rock called unobtainium. Sounds ridiculous, right? Tell that to the forests they burn, the sacred sites they bulldoze, the ancient trees they topple without a second thought. You watch from the canopy as their metal beasts tear through thousand-year-old groves in minutes. The neural feedback hits you like physical blows. Every severed root, every dying tree, every displaced creature sends shockwaves through the network that connects all life on Pandora. Your grandmother, the clan's Sahik, collapses from the psychic trauma of feeling an entire grove's death screams. The Tree of Souls dims as the destruction spreads, its bioluminescent patterns flickering like a dying heartbeat. The humans don't understand what they're destroying. To them, you're just tall blue savages standing in the way of progress. They can't comprehend that every tree they cut severs neural pathways in a living network millions of years old. They're not just mining rocks. They're lobotomizing a planetary consciousness that thinks in geological timescales. Your attempts to explain fall on deaf ears wrapped in breathing apparatus. War erupts across the forest. But this isn't the clean warfare of human movies. This is brutal, desperate, asymmetric combat where you're fighting an enemy with overwhelming technological superiority. Their aircraft rain death from above, while their ground forces advance behind walking tanks that shrug off your arrows like mosquito bites. You watch clan brothers fall to weapons that vaporize flesh, that kill from distances your ancestors never imagined. Your Ikran becomes your lifeline in this aerial hell. Dogfights between banshees and human aircraft turn the sky into a meat grinder. Machine guns designed to shoot down jets tear through living flesh like paper. Missiles programmed to track heat signatures lock onto your mount's body temperature. You learn to fly through clouds of toxic gas that burns your lungs, to dodge laser-guided death that follows you through impossible turns. But the worst part isn't the violence. It's watching your people change. Children who should be learning to commune with the forest instead learn to make explosives from tree sap. Elders who spent lifetimes accumulating wisdom now spend their days planning ambushes and coordinating strikes. The Great Tree of Souls, once a place of peace and connection, becomes a command center for coordinating resistance cells across the continent. You develop new skills your ancestors never needed. Urban warfare in human settlements, sabotage techniques for machinery you barely understand, psychological warfare against an enemy whose minds you cannot bond with, whose thoughts remain forever alien. You learn to use human technology against them, turning their own weapons and vehicles into instruments of their destruction. The neural stress of constant warfare begins breaking down the connections that define Navi existence. Warriors return from battle unable to bond with their mounts, their neural pathways damaged by trauma and overstimulation. The forest network itself starts developing dead zones where the psychic trauma has severed connections permanently. Entire groves go silent, their voices lost forever to the planetary consciousness. The neural pathways that once carried songs of ancient wisdom now pulse with screams of war. You survive this hell, but survival changes you. The child who once played in bioluminescent groves becomes a warrior who dreams in machine gun fire. Your connection to Awa remains, but it's scarred by trauma that echoes through generations. This is life as Navi. Not the romanticized version humans imagine, but the brutal reality of a people whose paradise became a battleground. You are the forest's immune system fighting an infection that thinks it's bringing progress.